Good evening, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to our broadcast here at Focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony Sie. I am here with my partner Dennis Jai. And in this edition of our show, we are having a debate between the two major political blocs in our country. That is the ruling position and the opposition. Welcome to the show. Again, this is where you would rather be. This debate going to be very much interesting. We are having a debate on the top political issues in the country. But I am not here alone. I'm here with Dennis Jai, and I'm turning things over to him for him to introduce our guest. Welcome to the show, Dennis. I'm all set.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. This is Focus on Liberia and it's debate on primetime Sunday. You have the pro-government represented by Mr. Jerome Gayman. He's a host here on Point. That's a program on Focus on Liberia. Jerome, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much for your show and the opportunity to serve.
We also have representing the opposition bloc, that's the CPP/ANC. We have a member of the ANC, Mr. Anthony Gaye. Anthony, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thanks for having me, sir.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe to join in. At some point in this debate, we're going to be asking for opinion poll. Who, in your view, you think is doing better in the debate? We're going to have that later, so keep your dial set. And we have it here. It's not just because you support the opposition or you support the ruling position that you will just grade. We want you to be factual, be very authentic, and be balanced to the best of your ability. We're going to be debating some topical issues, some of which you know already because these are the issues in the news if you follow our Liberian political discussion. It's always a good thing to debate. It's always good to disagree. It's always good because this is healthy for our democracy. Once again, gentlemen, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Let me get your opening statement. And in your opening statement, what we want you to do, Anthony will let you know. Anthony, back to you.
Thank you, folks. Again, we can't thank you enough for honoring our invitation, and it's also those who are in cyberspace for joining us in this very much anticipated debate. Gentlemen, to you, our debaters, in your opening statement, this is what you're going to do. What is your overall assessment of the current government under President George Malawiya, and also your assessment of the CPP under the leadership of Mr. Alexander Cummings? So we have two administrations on two sides, and we want you to give your overall assessment in terms of performance. Well, we will start with Mr. Jerome Gayman. Mr. Gayman, your assessment.
And before you start, Gayman, I just forgot to let our audience know that the format we're going with tonight is we're going to raise the issue and we'll have one debater going first with his position. The second will come with his position, and that's for 2 minutes. And we have another 2 minutes for rebuttal from each side. After the rebuttals, based on our discretion, and look, we are always right here. Based on our discretion, we will ask you a follow-up question or no question based on how we feel. And so we are under no obligation to say, well, because you say it, we have to say something. So we want the two of you going at it head-to-head throughout the debate, and we will be coming in periodically to challenge you, fact-check you, and also ask for more clarity and ask questions. So with that understanding, let's go into it. Back to you, Anthony.
Thank you. And Mr. Gayman, you have to give your opening statement on, we want to get your overall assessment of President Weah and also your overall assessment of Mr. Alexander Cummings, the head of the CPP. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to serve. As I said earlier, I want to make it clear here that I do not work for the government. I am not a representative of the government, but I am a supporter unflinching supporter of the administration of Dr. George Manabekube Weah and the Pro-Po agenda. The Pro-Po agenda, President Weah came to power on something called the Pro-Po agenda, which has 7 pillars. And those pillars were on education, healthcare, youth empowerment, road development, and the overall environment for Liberians to be participants in their own economy. Is Mr. Weah on course? Obviously, according to the World Bank, these were lofty goals that would take time for a country that did not have the infrastructure. So is he doing well at this point? The assessment, in 2 years, little under 3 years, we have addressed education. You're hearing about the first thing he did was send 25 doctors abroad to specialize. Liberia have never had specialization. Now we're going to have specialization in different areas. You saw that he announced that college or the university, public universities now will be free. The Kings have to be worked out. Those are areas that he said he was going to work on. He's working on them. We are talking about youth empowerment. We are talking about education. We're talking about vocational training. We are talking about issues that will affect the young folks. These are long-term issues. Is he doing very well in those areas? You be the judge. I do not want to go and list the plethora of successes that Joe we have had, from roads to electricity to estates to the Gov't market, empowering women. All of those things are glorious in little under 3 years. Now let's go to Alexander Cummings, the failed politician. Alexander Cummings is one of the most failed politicians that I have ever seen, that have ever come on the scene in Liberia. First of all, I'm looking at his CV here. It's a very long one. He was born in Monrovia, lived in Monrovia, worked in Monrovia, only left Monrovia to go to Cotton College for 2 years, left Cotton, went to the University of Illinois, graduated, and then went to Clark in Atlanta, where he got an MBA in finance. Went back to Liberia and worked. Monrovia is his home, in and out, in and out. It was recently that Mr. Cummings claimed that he's a Marylander. And even I visited Maryland, nobody knows who he is. So he's out of touch. He doesn't know the folks don't know him. He's not a Liberian, as far as we are concerned. He was born in Monrovia, he's a Republic of Monrovia. He has not left Monrovia other than going to Calcutta and going to the United States. He came to the United States and worked his way into corporate America. And he was successful, but those are 2 different entities. Working in the private sector and working in the government, those are 2 different animals. I worked in the private sector. I was the president, I was CEO of the United Way. I was successful there. As he was successful,
please conclude on your opening.
Yes, as he was successful in Coca-Cola. These systems are made for people to succeed. There was nothing new he's done. If that would have been otherwise, he would have done it in Liberia and everywhere else. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Anthony Gaye, same question. You are to assess Mr. Alexander Cummings' leadership as head of the CPP and President Weah ahead of the Liberian government. Thank you.
Thank you, Focus on Liberia. Thank you, Mr. Anthony Gaye and Mr. Dennis Jha for this opportunity. And I also want to say thank you to Mr. Gayman for accepting this challenge and coming on here tonight. One thing I want us to do tonight is to be very succinct, very, forthcoming when we speak on the issues. This is not about scoring political points because we will be fact-checked. And let me say this. My assessment of President Weah, before I conclude on Mr. Cummings' leadership, is that it seems as though he doesn't understand his job functions. The presidency of the Republic of Liberia, it is an office, an astute, and the most important one than any other job in the country. is the highest office of the land. And if the president does not understand his function, not the title, but the function of the job, your role, then it becomes a problem. And then it's spelled everywhere. We saw the president who came in, inaugural speech, was very encouraging and swayed away from that inaugural speech just 2 weeks after his presidency. His first trip to Nigeria, he spoke about having 6,000 technocrats in the country. When he was cornered and pressed about it, he changed and said, oh no, you will find 6,000 technocrats in Liberia. I will have an opportunity to rebuttal what Mr. Gayman said. So I marked 3 things that he said that was inaccurate. And so we came here tonight to sharpen the contrast and let the Liberian people know that President Weah was given an opportunity. A conditional president, I will consider it, in my opinion, that the Liberian public felt disappointed in the previous administration and gave this president an opportunity. They came with a document called a PAPD. They were even pressed about that document because they had no plan. And that PAPD has 4 pillars. Of those 4 pillars, they have focused on agriculture for majority of the document, even in the executive summary. And agriculture has to do with pillar number 2 on that document. The document is underfunded. Since President Weah took office, agriculture has received one of the lowest amounts of all other ministries or all other sectors in the country. Agriculture have received minimal amount from the first year to the second year, now going to the third year. The budget allotment says it all. If you go to the budget allotment now, you will see how agriculture has been underfunded. The country is more divided today than when he took office. Our national security is scary. Citizens cannot move around freely. They cannot freely express themselves without retaliation. Employees are threatening. They cannot do their job freely. We saw in the span of 8 days, 4 professionals lives have been taken away mysteriously. Now, Mr. Cummings, a Liberian from a middle-class family, had an opportunity to come to the United States, just like any other Liberian, seeking to pursue education. He graduated from Illinois University and went to Clark University where he got an MBA. He worked for the Pittsburgh Company and served there also as a vice president. He left and went to Coca-Cola in Nigeria in 1997, where he was regional manager. Mind you, Nigerians are very competitive. That man excelled in Nigeria, from Nigeria to North Africa, from North Africa to South Africa, from South Africa to Europe and the United States in 2008. He came here and became the 3rd person in command of a global company, Coca-Cola. He was the chief executive officer, chief executive administrative officer.
Anthony, because of time, please emphasize on Mr. Cummings' leadership as head of the CPP because of time, sir. Please.
Sure. So with the CPP, it is a work in progress. CPP, as you may well know, it is 4 political institutions that came together, collaborating, have not even merged. We are now one party here. We are collaborating. Each party still holds his or her own platform. We collaborate when it comes to election and everything, when it comes to all things. But CPP is a work in progress. So, yes, there has been challenges, but I would give the CPP the credit for 4 political institutions, independently operating, to come together to do a work for the Liberian people. It may have not been rosy from the beginning, but the machine is become to oil and things are getting in the right direction. And we are hopeful that this thing will work in a better way. So
Thank you.
pleased with the leadership so far.
Thank you. All right, folks, you heard there from their opening statement assessing the 2 major political leaders in Liberia, President Weah on the side of the government and Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings on the side of the opposition. Gentlemen, we will now go into our issues. And the first issue here, we are asking this question. Why are the deaths at LRA and IAA normal or suspicious? And again, this former gentleman, you have 3 minutes, then it will be monitoring the time. Mr. Jerome Gayman, you have 3 minutes to respond. Go ahead, sir.
Well, just a few minutes ago, you saw the president or the administration came up with a release about how we are dealing, or how the nation is about to deal with the issues of the death. And we want to send our condolences to those families who are losing family members. And we just do not want to talk about LRA, but there are other crimes and other things like armed robbery, deportations of returnees, of deported criminals from around the world coming to Liberia that are also contributing to those areas. I also want you to take into account cities of the size of Liberia, like Newark, New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey, those areas of maybe between 800,000 and 1.1 million people, and the debris in urban areas. When you look at the cities of Chicago and cities of light, we have up to now about 4,900 people being, that is about 3 or 4 people per square block being killed on a daily basis. Liberia, yes, we have a history of what's happening here. This is unfortunate, and I'm glad that our leader, George Manawia, Dr. George Manawia, have decided to do what he did when the so-called CPP, I guess is a criminal political party. You got URE, you got people like Boycott that have been in politics for 40-some years that have done absolutely nothing. URE, that was the official gun runner for the MPFL, all of these people, to have someone like Cummings, who say he's a leader, to come and fall in bed with these people and say we're going to partner. And this man who is not giving George Weah a chance is saying we should give them a chance because this party is in progress. This man cannot leave 4 political parties, 4 people. George Weah is leaving 5 million people. This man cannot, this man they call Benedict, this man they call Cummings, cannot. You saw what happened in Nimba, the bloodbath.
Again, are you addressing the issue of the deaths at LRA?
I am telling you, I'm trying to give you the contrast of leadership style. The president decided, because people like the CPP, these people who are also criminals, they are going to come and discredit this government for the work that we will do. What do? We decided to ask the international community, the FBI in particular, through the U.S. Embassy, to come in and actually be as transparent as we can be. So we are saying, when you talk about investigation, this is it. To calm the fear of the Liberian people, to give you confidence in what we are doing. We are bringing the best investigative team on earth, the FBI, the NSA, the U.S. Embassy, the EU, and the Liberian government to actually look into this and put everything in the public. Let's see this. This is transparency. This is what we've been looking for 173 years. We've been looking for transparency. We got it, and we are glad we got it. And I'm very, very thankful to President George Weah for being far-sighted.
Thank you.
And brilliant. This is brilliance.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman. Mr. Gaye, same question on deaths at LRA and IAA, and you have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chia. It is very unfortunate that Mr. Gayman will not take responsibility and tell the Liberian people what this government is doing and what will they do. But yet again, and take note that going through the entire night tonight with this debate, he will always use an excuse, give an excuse, an excuse, an excuse. But here's the thing. You have our brightest lives being taken away in a span of 8 days. Yet the president in the church 3 or 4 days ago spoke about this issue, a high-profile security issue. Guess what he said? Oh, the people say that boyfriend, girlfriend thing. You are the president of the Republic of Liberia, for God's sake. You should not even comment on this issue. You can only offer your condolences to the family, usher time to the nation that you got this, and your security apparatus are working behind the scenes to bring this thing to a closure, and that's how you lead. You take responsibility. You offer assurance to your general public so that they don't panic. Liberians are panicking. One top government official working in the auditing department, for the fact of this kind, this government has been audited. We have not seen the report yet, and this guy has been taken away mysteriously. And you sit here and talk about, oh, FBI is going to come. What happened to our NSA? What happened to our national police? What happened to the executive mansion? People are scared. People are stagnating in the country. People worry about their lives. For God's sake. And you're here to talk about, oh, you're bringing people in? Hello. We saw the Crow report. They spoke about variances and not following international best practices. Individuals were held culpable. Where are they today? They walk free. Free. How can you restore trust to the Liberian people? You heard the president in the church again because he found the church as a suitable ground and area of comfort. You won't face journalists to have press conference and take questions, but he goes to the church, use the pulpit, and speak out whatever you want to speak out. So he goes there and says, oh, sometimes we want to arrest these people, but because we're the same people, and when you do it again, they say the president this, the president that. That means they call, a dictator. Do I look the dictator? That's how he speaks. I'm not making these things up. He goes to the church and instead of addressing the nation, he's the same president that called his critics enemy of the state. So under his leadership, he sowed more seed of discord, divisive seed, and the country is going catcher. Everybody is afraid. Nobody can speak their mind. But yet, we're supposed to be a democratic nation, right?
Thank you.
This is absurd. I fear for my life. I went to Liberia, even myself. I was not safe in Liberia.
Thank you.
I have phone calls from people. So
Thank you.
This kind of leadership,
Thank you.
with no sense of assurance and
Thank
no
you.
accountability, because when you have an investigation, people should be held accountable.
Thank you.
We should not just hear investigation
Anthony.
and then where did it go?
Anthony.
This investigation number 7.
Mr.
Anthony,
Gaye, thank you. Your time is over.
Yeah, your time is up.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we want to observe the time. You have 3 minutes. That's a lot of time. And now gentlemen, please stay within the time frame, and we'll be calling you to a point. Now you have 2 minutes for your rebuttal.
Well, I like this guy because, as you can see, I have the Crow report here. I'm not citing or talking from the top of my head like he's doing. He used the word first. He said, it seems he doesn't know, accusing the president. When you listen to the incoming U.S. ambassador during his hearing on Capitol Hill, he was asked, what is it you are going to do specifically when you get into Liberia? He said, I'm going to work with the government to work on the perception of corruption, the perception. And my brother here have just confirmed what everybody knows. They are creating this thing called perception. He said, it seems that Joe Weah doesn't know what he's doing. He didn't say Joe Weah doesn't know. He said, it seems. And that's great. This we have no oil on, that the opposition has no plan. He's talking about Cummings. You saw how he actually escaped the bloodbath in Nimba. How on his watch, CDC have 15 primary. It went so smooth. The CPP, the Criminal Progressive Party, said that it was too smooth. It was all set up. Then he went to do one primary one, and there was a bloodbath in Nimba, basically equivalent to the Nimba raid. This man they call Mr. Cummings. This man cannot lead 4 people, and this man, my brother Gaye, is saying the reason that happened is because they are 4 difficult people from 4 difficult institutions, and he's having problems. He needs time. The machine is being oiled, and sooner or later it's going to run. My friend, that is not leadership. You were brought here to put a mechanism together to work. That mechanism has not worked. You are not a leader. Working in the private sector is totally different from working in government. Government, you are leading people.
Thank you. Mr. Gaye, you have 2 minutes for your rebuttal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sia. Unfortunately, Mr. Gayman, you are not being accurate when you say CDC has had successful primary. I am the communication director of Honorable Thomas Yaya Nimle, who was a candidate on the CDC ticket that withdrew his candidacy because CDC took her primary out of Grand Gila County and took it to Nima County, knowing for the world the role conditions, and asked 145 persons from each side to go represent their candidate to be the primary. That in itself was disingenuous. Grand Gila is supposed to have their primary in Grand Gila County, not in Nima County, but that's what CDC did. What happened there? Zopeno had a white ballot because he told the people, let's move this thing to Nima County. This man don't have much money to transport people to Nima County, given the circumstances. Is that what you call clear primary? Absolutely. I personally condemn the act in Nima County, as well as the CPP. The leadership condemned the act in Nima County. It was very unfortunate. But here is the thing. We did not share blame. We took full responsibility of our circumstances. Unlike you shift blame to everyone else. That's what you do. And that's what you continue to do throughout the debate. I predicted that, and that's what you continue to do. We took full responsibility of the Nima circumstances. And guess what happened? The circumstances in Nima have been settled peacefully. We have a candidate there. And all CPP supporters are supporting the candidate in Nima County. So let me tell you this. Don't come here and try to intellectualize this debate, because you will just be doing yourself a disservice. What you ought to do is to take responsibility. Don't always share blame. Part of being a good leader, you take responsibility. You don't share blame. President, we are always share blame. He never took responsibility. So that's the circumstances with the CDC-led government.
Thank you.
Are you back?
Thank you. All right, gentlemen. Dennis, you don't have a question for them?
No, I do, but is he finished? You still have 5 seconds to finish up.
All right.
No, I finished.
Okay.
The other time I went over, I want to get back.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question for Mr. Gayman.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Gayman, you said the president have asked the FBI, the Americans, to come and help. You know, what has the president or the government of Liberia tried in these murders?
Well, as my brother said, as you know, this is an ongoing investigation. We have begun to do, first of all, it begins with crime scene analysis, collection of data, crime scene, all of those things, those are the basics, okay? Now, when you are talking about forensic, we talk about toxicology and all of those things that will require intensive outlook. We need the expertise outside of the country.
What has the government done in that direction? What have been tried before going out for help?
But we are telling you, the government knows that for these crime to be solved, they would need serious forensic investigation that will include toxicology. And for that to happen, it has to happen where? In the best lab in the world. And the FBI, we have been asked, okay, to come in and do as much as they can to work with the NSA, to work with our local government, to do what is right for the family and for the government and for our national safety. As my brother was saying, this particular thing that we are talking about will calm the nerves of our folks, knowing that it's going to be transparent, it's going to be done at the highest level, it's going to be done by the most qualified people in the world. And I applaud the president for doing that.
Thank you.
Mr. Gayman, please, I need a very short answer on this one. I'm just reading an article from the Independent Probe newspaper talking about the president calling the U.S. Embassy to intervene. Now you name me FBI, you name me all the security agency of the U.S. government. It is not contained in the press, the newspaper article that I read, quoting the Minister of Information. So where are you getting that information from?
Well, I don't have to tell you, it's implied when we tell you that the United States government, through the MSO, we have asked the United States government at its highest office to investigate our crime. What part of the U.S. national government that does investigation when it comes to national or international crime is the FBI. Nowhere else is going to go. They are not going to come to. They are not going to come to New York. They're not going to come to Miami, where I'm at, and say, "Can you do that?" The United States government has an agency, an outstanding agency that does that, and that's the FBI.
But Mr. Gayman, can you remember that when the Liberian government had asked the U.S. Embassy, what did the U.S. Embassy do? The U.S. Embassy contracted a private company to do the investigation, and here you are assuming that it will be the U.S. government through its hand. I think you're jumping ahead of it. But
no, I'm not jumping. No, I'm not jumping out. I'm not jumping here. This is something that when we're talking about logical conclusion, if the U.S. government has a subcontractor vetted through the FBI, that they are satisfied to say the FBI is not ready at this point. We are busy at other stuff, but we have somebody that will proxy for us in whom we trust. That is good for me.
Thank you. Let me go to you, Mr. Gaye. I didn't hear your conclusion on what you think is responsible for the deaths at LRA and IAA. The question was normal death or suspicion, and where is that suspicion coming from? What's the basis, if yes?
It is very suspicious for the fact that 4 officials of the same entity, mysteriously within a span of 8 days, you don't have to be a security official, you don't have to be a security expert to get to know that something not right for the director, the auditor, all the different positions within the same branch. And reports have been coming that they just concluded an audit on the Freeport and also about the SOE, the state of emergency, $30 million that were earmarked for the state of emergency. So you have 4 professionals of our nation, integrity entity for that matter, life got taken mysteriously. I heard a president in that church talking about, in a particular church, talking about, they said that boyfriend and girlfriend thing. There is the president. 2 of your employees, life got taken. And you think gossip talk and say, they say it's a boyfriend and girlfriend thing?
Thank you.
Even if there was that kind of thing, is that what the president is supposed to be talking about in the church? I find that very odd and disturbing to the family.
Thank you. Let's move on to our next issue. And this time, Mr. Anthony Gaye will go first. And that's concerning the passport issue and also the passport saga, some call it the passport syndicate or the passport shenanigan, and the honorary consulate in Mexico. What's your take on those issues? We start with you, Mr. Gaye, and you have 3 minutes.
You know, Mr. Ja, in as much as almost every Liberian is hoping to find this new Liberia, this Liberia that is hopeful and full of joy, some of us had an opportunity to have lived the normal day Liberia, where we have, the coins circulating, we took buses for 15 cents, 35 cents, whatnot. People that were born 1990 to 2020 never experienced the normal day Liberia. So we've been hoping and trying to get our way through this process. But unfortunately, every time we try to take a step forward, we take 10 steps backward. This circumstance with the passport thing is very unfortunate. You saw the letter that have been circulating, where the chief of protocol apply on the behalf of this same gentleman who is the current honorary consul general in Mexico City for a visa, and he got denied. This man had a website up. Myself went on the website. After a few days, that website was taken down. So to be quite honest, today or yesterday, I didn't check the website. But 5 different times I checked the website, and that website was down. It kept saying under construction, under construction. This is very disturbing.
You done?
Yes, I'm done.
All right. Same question, Mr. Gayman. Your take on the passport saga and the honorary consulate in Mexico.
It is so funny that my brother here says that we should not intellectualize the debate, but this is what this debate is all about. This is about government and analysis of government policy. So I don't know where in the world will you go to talk about diplomacy, economics, talk about foreign policy, and say do not intellectualize. I've never seen that, but anyway, in the CPP, that's what they label on. And let's look at the letters he's talking about that are circulating. First of all, the president has the absolute authority to give Liberian passport to honorary consular around the world, it is within his purview. Okay? We also understand that when an honorary consul position is given to anybody, that person is vetted on two ends of the transaction. The nominating agency, the nominating country, and the accepting country. So we know this for the fact that the man was vetted through our national, the NSA, and then the government of Mexico. We know this for the fact that this man, even when the passport they are talking about, this man was given a passport in 2013. So when they're talking about he was denied, my brother here they have never posted their denial letter where they say the man was accused of drug dealing, he was accused of everything else, he was money laundering, nothing of that charge. He is now going back to what we call the perception index. They have failed the perception index. Like he said, it seems, but there is nothing. And it turned out that I have the document here. The website he's talking about is operational. These people have nothing. It's all about gossip. There's nothing. I am going to intellectualize this because this is an intellectual event. We are talking about international policy, international diplomacy. They are called International Code of Conduct. We are working under the Geneva Convention. So what part of the debate that is not intellectual? I am baffled that the ANC, the CPP, Liberty Party, is going to send somebody here to come bring knife to a gunfight. We are not talking about regular gun. This man he got pen knife. This is an intellectual debate. This is the heavyweight. When you're going to introduce fiction and accuse my esteemed president, the most successful president Liberia has ever had in 173 years, then you must come with the fact. We do not want you to come say he has it. We want you to come with the facts.
Thank you, Mr.
The president is excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman. Anthony, you started this segment, so let's. All right.
Before we proceed to the next segment,
let me come with a question.
They have time for rebuttals for 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Go
ahead.
I want to use my rebuttal time to rebut multiple issues he made in other segments.
Go ahead.
You just heard Mr. Gayman saying that President Weah is the most successful president ever in the history of Liberia. He also mentioned that it's only under President Weah did Liberia ever send people for training to specialize in medical field or to have a specialized sector in the medical field. Dr. Gola Fale from Yekepa specialized. The current national health director is a Liberian, specialized. We did not educate him. Sometimes I know you guys want to praise things and worship Weah. That's okay. You can do all of those things. But when you come to a national debate, be succinct, be very accurate. We are not here to accept alternative facts because the truth is alternative fact is nothing else but lies. Okay? So come here with accuracy. President William R. Turbot was one of the industrialized presidents of the Republic of Liberia. You understand that? Under his regime, you saw where Liberia was going. More indigenous was educated. More indigenous have jobs, good paying jobs. More indigenous was then going to, well, today, now Germany is merged now, but West Germany back in the days. Do you understand that? You must speak to facts. You have good educational sector in Liberia during those days. The Zoju multilateral, the local multilateral, all of those things happen under his watch. When you come here, in much that you admire and worship Weah, kudos to you for that. You are entitled to those things. But when it comes to the national debate, be honest, be objective, and be truthful to yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Gayman, your time for rebuttal.
Well, you see, Mr. Gaye, he sidestepped the questions of the immigration. He went down to Tolbal and all of that. This is what we call pivot in the intellectual sense, where you don't want to debate the issues because you don't have facts. So you pivot and you go around about Talbot and all of that. He never took, I mentioned that George Weah, his first term, he sent 25 medical doctors to specialize in area. You remember, he never juxtaposed. He never said, the Talbot he's talking about, that Talbot sent 50 or 100. He said, one guy from Nima and one guy from Buchanan somewhere. That was it in 173 years. I am giving you numbers. I said 25 doctors, medical doctors were sent abroad to come back, specialize in different areas of internal medicine, cardiology, gynecology, you name it, internal medicine. We are talking about the whole gamut. And this man is talking about one guy that had a good job. When you think of a few guys in Monrovia during those days having good job, doesn't mean the whole Liberia had a good job. Liberia is not Monrovia, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My first question goes to you, Mr. Gaye.
Okay.
We talk about the passports and the consulate. I didn't hear what you say is wrong with that.
So, as Mr. Gayman said, the president have the discretion to issue honorary, diplomatic passport to honorary consul. That is true. But in that same privilege that says that, means that in order for those people to get that honorary or that diplomatic passport, they must be working in the best interest of the country. They must work in the best interest of the country. When you go, before the guy said on the website, $3.4 billion will be generated in the next 4 years for the 14, we are 14 project and whatnot. He has changed that now to almost 2030. Okay? Because of the scrutiny he came under. Most of the things on that website are all made up. Mr. Jai, take an opportunity to look at that website. Most of those things are made up stuff. We gave honorary consulate or diplomatic passport to area where the country herself cannot have embassy. It will cost Liberia too much money to have that. So a part of it is right, but how it is done and who benefited from it, it's not in the best interest of Liberia. Okay? I am privileged to be a spokesperson for a person who served Liberia as a foreign minister. So I was giving some briefing on foreign ministry and foreign affairs and the diplomatic protocol and all of this. I'm privileged to it now because I'm being briefed on a weekly basis, sometimes days or not, with a person who served as a foreign minister of Liberia for 2 years. So I understand what this means and what it doesn't mean. Our passport should not be given to individuals for their own self-gain. It should be given to an individual who will represent Liberia interests. Can this man brag about what this man in Mexico have done for Liberia now? Let him tell us. For the time he has received that diplomatic passport and have that honorary consul and representing Liberia, what has Liberia benefit from that particular consulate?
Thank you. Mr. Shea, if you don't have a question for Gayman, I have one.
Go for yours.
Mr. Gayman, we saw how this whole passport thing play out. First, he was indicted, the case was dropped, and then Americans stepped in and it's, okay, before the government tried to do something again. That, to me, doesn't pass the smell test. And now the man is speaking. In your view, you think that there is nothing, everything has been done perfectly when it comes to the issuing of these Liberian passports. And then we have Mexico, where we don't even know the interest of Liberia in Mexico, and we see a consulate there. And we have people, places like Canada and other parts of Europe that desperately need this consulate. And you think, in your view, there's nothing wrong with those?
Absolutely nothing. I want to be categorically clear, absolutely nothing. And I want to go to what my brother said. He said he doesn't think that it serves, the consulate serves Liberia's best interest. Best is not objective enough. Best is subjective. Best is perceptional. And I pray that my brother understands that these words he are using exactly why the U.S. Embassy is saying they're going to address the perception. Why do we have consulate in, not consulate, but honorary counsel? Those are two different, the people, the opposition, they are so much uneducated that they are using them interchangeably. Honorary counsel is someone who represents the interests of a country. A consular is an office that has a consul general. We serve as a subdivision of the embassy. We don't have that. We have a person who is a lawyer or business person that has their own, they have their own budget. And they are working on our behalf to bring in investors, to invite people to our country, to tell the good news about our country, to tell some of the good things that Liberia has to offer. That's his job. There's nothing wrong with that. And he also said that he's been briefed. Who in the world is being briefed that worked 4 years ago as a spokesperson for an ambassador that is no longer, or you being briefed on what? These are the fallacies that these people walk around with, say, I got fired. You are not entitled to these facts. Only the present ambassador has present information about this government and the international. For everything else you're doing is gossip.
Thank you. That takes us to our next segment. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, you're watching a debate between CPP's Anthony Gaye and CDC Jerome Gayman. Number 3 is on the primaries. And you guys mentioned the primaries already. We saw CPP primary, and we also saw the CDC primary. Let's compare the two. And see where the strength, the weaknesses, and what needs to be addressed. And Mr. Gaye, you go first.
So let me say this. Like I said earlier, I am a member of ANC and by default member of CPP and the COP. I'm not an official spokesperson of the CPP. But how be it? If I have my own choice, we'll use one system and don't go by the delegate system. I don't subscribe to the delegate system. That's what they agreed to. And we all respect the decision that was reached for the delegate system. I believe in, individual voting for a candidate and whoever wins, wins. But they have the delegate system wherein a certain amount of delegates have to show up to the primary and vote. But what happened in Nima, absolute, completed disaster, and we condemn that act. We hope it never be repeated anymore in our existence, and that has been resolved, and we are looking forward for any other primary. Now, for people to come, for Mr. Gayman to come here and pretend that everything is okay with the CDC primary, that is not true. I just gave you one particular instance wherein the candidate that I'm supporting right now in Grand Juliet County, and I am the official spokesperson from the diaspora, from the friends of Yaya in the diaspora, I can tell you for a fact, he withdrew from the CDC ticket, had a press conference before he withdrew, that what the CDC was doing was now a primary. Taking the primary from Grand Juliet County to Nima County, and for them to have the primary there, that was ESF disingenuous to the constituents themselves. And also giving the road conditions. The road corridor is cut off. It's a challenge now to go back and forth to Grand Juliet County. Well, right now, a bag of cement now is $15 in Grand Juliet County. When it is $6.50 at Timenco or $7 outside of Timenco in Monrovia. So there are so many challenges. But Mr. Zopeno, Representative Zopeno, decided that's what he wanted, and they did that. When everybody withdrew, they couldn't go to Nima County. He came up with a web ballot. That is not a fair play. You can't run away and say, oh, everything about CDC is. Another thing again, in Montserrat County, you saw how they did summer pilot. Before they even went to the primary, everybody knew that summer pilot was going with. So they got a few guys here and say, oh yeah, go vote summer pilot and make it look like it was a primary. It was all staged. So when you think you want to be transparent, do it free and fair. Let everyone have that opportunity. We see how the Democratic and the Republican parties select their leaders here. Can we do the same in Liberia? Absolutely. But why? Most Liberians don't like competition, my brother.
Thank you, Mr. Gaye. If you are finished, you still have time.
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay, let's
try to gain back the time I consumed from the first time I spoke.
Let's go to Mr. Gayman. How do you compare the CPP and the CDC primary in terms of transparency, fairness, organization, and the whole 9 yards?
Please, I feel very insulted to have the mighty democratic change, the CDC, our primary that was so transparent, where over 10,000 people showed up. I want to bring my brother here to a check. Maybe he doesn't know this because I don't know, or he's trying to conceal this. In the history of Liberian politics, this Coca-Cola man, this man who sells sugar water for a living, came to Liberia and introduced something called VIP, the voters, or VPR, Voters Perception Index. This is a man who is saying he's here to present and preserve democracy. He said the voice of the people doesn't count. So he is going to do something called Voters Perception Index, getting into the minds of the folks, and what they are thinking is more important than folks going and casting their ballot. This is Alexander Cummings. This is the same Alexander Cummings that came up with a performance report, a document that says for a Liberian citizen to get a job if you win the presidency, it is almost zero because you have to be a part and parcel of the inter-ruling cycle of this government. You have to be one of us to get a job. That is the oldest playbook from the TWP. We have seen this book before. We have read this book before. I am sorry to intellectualize this, but that's what it is. The Voters Perception Index is an insult to compare with the mighty CDC that is transparent, that is holistic, that is fair and frank and lovely and worshipped. I'm appalled that my brother Gaye here is going to stay here and defend the indefensible Voters Perception Index, reading the minds of voters, whoever does that. Do we do VPI in the United States? I beg you, yeah, the Liberian man say, I'm a Republican and yes, I know how we do our stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Point of correction, it is a VPS, not VPI.
Yeah, go ahead.
Voter Perception Survey.
Mr. Gayman, go ahead with your rebuttal. This time 1 minute each for the rebuttal. Let Mr. Gayman go first.
No, Mr. Gaye, I just spoke.
Yeah, speak again. We like you.
Okay, excellent. My brother just admitted that the Voters Perception Index, it is not the I. I should take out the I. I should put the S. So now it's Voter Perception Survey. So he has agreed. Even though he never mentioned it, on Earth, I have to bring it to his attention. So, my brother, thank you very much for that flawed system you put in place that you're trying to defend. You can't defend it because you can't read minds.
Mr. Gaye, your rebuttal.
Mr. Jai, you heard Mr. Gayman say he served in corporate America. Each one of us that work in corporate America, I also work in corporate America. We do surveys. We are evaluated on survey. Our performances are evaluated partly on survey and other metrics that your company is based on your company. A survey is not a bad thing. It's how all marketers do that, all companies do that, all telemarketing companies do that, most other big corporations do that to get a sense of the market, to get the sense of how things are going, how their customers are thinking, and how to address issues. That is not an insane thing. It's just that it is new to Liberia. And I want to take responsibility here that I think the ANC didn't do a better job educating the folks about it. I want to be very blunt. Unlike you would never take responsibility of your flaws. When I say y'all, I mean CDC flaws. But you see, on 2 occasions now, I have taken responsibility. That's what true leadership is. That's what being objective is. When it comes to the specificity of things, you should understand that we are not here. When I tell you, you always intellectualize the debate, that means you want to come lecture. It's not that. It's not. You're not speaking as an intelligent person. That's not what I meant. You want to come lecture me when the thing I already know about it. So understand these things. And again, let us refrain from calling people funny names here. the Coca-Cola water man, and all of the different things. You know his name. He has a name, and you know his role he played. The job that he had, I challenge you. Everyone is given a level playing field at a company here. My company have let go CEOs. My company have let go directors, VP. My company have let go a lot of top level officials.
Thank you.
Not everyone can get in a role and perform, regardless of what is given to you at a given time.
Thank you. Now we go to a question, Mr. Sia. You have, if no question, we move to the next.
I have a question for Mr. Gayman. You know, I was just smiling as he was, you know, describing the CDC primary process. But this is my question, Mr. Gayman. In your Monserrato primaries, way before the primaries, there's a woman called Wolokoli. Jemima
Wolokoli, that's correct.
She cried foul. She wanted to contest so much. And so, because she was being silent, that's her words, you know, she could not, you know, contest in the primary in the first place. And so now she's going independent. She's from the CPP, I mean the CDC, sorry. And then a young man called Phil Tapper Dixon. He is also from the CDC. Now he's going independent. I don't want to bore you about Axel Vactuba, and I think some other person from the CDC as well. So CDC technically has produced around 4 to 5 candidates in Monserrato County. So when you say your primary was beautiful, that was really beautiful, right?
Oh, excellent, excellent. This is what the CDC is all about, the People's Party. Okay? Like you say, the CDC is so transparent and free that we are telling you, in corporate America that my brother talks about, we have chain of command. Okay? We all fall on a certain chain of command, and you have to follow the chain of command. If you cannot follow the chain of command, then you have to fall apart. You got to fall outside of the chain of command. And CDC has empowered people. You remember, one of the 4 pillars of the Pro agenda is to empower folks to be independent. These people have decided not to follow or the scribe of CDC, and they want to go on their own. And we bless them. As a Vatupa, former president CDC USA, we bless him. Go ahead if you think you can do it outside of CDC. We bless you. We honor you. Mrs. Wolokoli, a disgraced employee of our system, someone who does not like to follow policies and procedure. All of those things are things that are not within the purview of CDC. We are telling you that we have a system. You either follow the system, like we say in the Republican Party, you have to follow the elephant. You either follow, take the lead, or get out of the way, or you're going to get trampled. We are telling you this is how we do it in the CDC. You compete fairly. If you lose, you move on. You support the candidate or go independent. My brother talked about Yaya in Grand Jita. Yaya has no resources. He's poor, just like me. From the beginning, we said that the primary will be done in region. And we spell out the region. Grand Bassa, Mangibi, River said it's on one region. So you know where that was going from the beginning. It was spelled out. So if Mr. Yaya cannot pay his way from Grand Jita to Nimat, I'm sorry, but these elections, they require resources. And I'm sorry for Mr. Yaya.
Mr. Gayman, let me follow up on that quickly. We saw this in from the TWP playbook, where whoever hangs the standard bearer or the president raises, that person becomes the candidate. All right. So for you to say that these people, they didn't play by the rules and you bless them to leave, that sound still more like a TWP tactics. Okay. Because obviously Thomas father was known even before the primary. How can you dispute that?
We cannot dispute that. When the Democratic Party was going there, when they were doing their primaries here, when the news came out, we knew who they wanted. They knew their ace card was Joe Biden. We knew that 3 years ago. It happens in every primary. Every party has. You have to put forward your best foot. CDC, we made that mistake once, and we're not going to make that mistake anymore. The past senatorial election, We took a female, beautiful, smart woman, but who was not engaging. She was not ready. The people, they know her. She was not popular in the county. She didn't have the resources. This time around, we are going to put forth our best foot. That's how it is. That's how it goes. I can't lie to you. Nobody going to lie to you and say, we are going to go because everybody wants to be senator, everybody wants to be president. No, we're talking about the plausibility of telling our story and people believing. And the idea of putting forth a candidate that can best represent based on tangibles. And in this particular instance, Mr. Fala T5 actually did a better job in communicating to the base based on what he has done already. So it was an easier sell for us, less expensive, and somebody that had name recognition.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is debate on topical issues between pro-CDC Jerome Gayman and pro-opposition Anthony Gaye. We have a poll up, is pinned on Facebook. Please vote in your view who you think is winning, and please don't just vote because the gentleman, you fought them. Look at the substance of what they are putting forth and grade them. So see, I think we move on.
Yeah, we move on to the next issue, and the next issue, folks, will be on the stimulus package. And Mr. Anthony Gaye is going to go first on the issue. Gentlemen, this is the question we are asking. What do you make of the stimulus package?
And that stimulus package relating to COVID-19 stimulus package. Go ahead, Anthony.
Mr. Jab, Mr. CA, and our Liberian audience around the globe. This, yet again, another disaster, another circumstances that the CDC government cannot even explain. You can't even count how many people received that. Prior to even the ration reaching the people, they went over a month plus after the Senate have voted. The joint section of our Liberian legislature voted for this particular aid to go to our people. What we saw in the street was people being flooded in front of their own home, in their own yard. People have been taken advantage of. People have been told not to go in the street and do that everyday hustle, like Jerome will say, to get food on their table for their family, for themselves. But yet the government tortured them. We saw a video where the AFL spokesperson had to go to the house and supplicate from our own house on a porch. We saw folks receiving rations. One section of the group, most people said they didn't reach to that area. Most of our people in the rural part of Liberia, including my mom and siblings there, they were told not to go anywhere. They were under, they state of emergency, whether it was a curfew or whether it was a stay-at-home order lockdown. We even came on focus on Liberia. There was topic held on here, whether it was a lockdown or curfew. It was never specified. We didn't even know. Our people went through hell. And yet, they didn't even get the benefit that they were supposed to get. I don't know how this government is going to explain that. And one of the auditors that passed away, that got killed, that passed away, that got murdered, let me use that word, because it was a clear murder, was investigating the SOE. So auditing the SOE, I'm sorry, not investigating, but auditing the SOE. So here is the thing. This whole SOE, the state of emergency, $30 million that were earmarked, we are yet to get any detailed, comprehensive report from this government. Is the country still on a lockdown, still on a COVID observance, a protocol? We don't know. But now you see people campaigning all around.
Thank you. Let's go to Mr. Gayman. The stimulus package, SOE, state of emergency.
I like my brother here because he confirms, he makes my job easy. At first he said the country was in such a fear, nobody could go out. The country was in such a dire need, everybody is panicking. But in the same breath, he's saying now that people are campaigning, people are happy, and they are campaigning, and they are not murdering people. So we are talking about the perception again. My brother, you are in a land of perception. It is not reality. You are talking about the flogging of folks that we were draconian from the beginning, but yet and still the international community is giving George Weah and Liberia credit for the low virus infection and death. Something we have done that was right from the very beginning, locking down, taking temperature, and enforcing. Earlier you said the president does not enforce. He's not tough enough. He doesn't have the power and the man. Now here we are, the president is enforcing something that was life and death. And we have been commended for the early preparation. My brother, thank you for helping CDC. You could not have been a better spokesperson for CDC. In fact, you're doing a better job for CDC than I am doing. Thank you very much for praising CDC. CDC, that I told you, actually, I want to believe that on the hand, on the cover, you are a CDC because you never talk anything good about your own party, but it's always about CDC, praising CDC, that it was terrible in the hinterland and all of that. You are admitting here that it is terrible around the country to move. The roads are terrible. We agree. That's why George Weah said we need to build a road. And you said that road we're going to eat. Your party, CPP, said that road we're going to eat. Then you turn around in the same purpose and say the roads are bad. Yes, you are right, because George Weah diagnosed that the road was bad. We are going to deliver. It's going to take a while, but it's going to get there.
All right.
Mr. Jah, if I may, can I use 15 seconds, please?
You have 1 minute to rebut.
Thank you. You know, it is very unfortunate, and people who are spending that data right now watching us, and Mr. Gayman is doing this, it is just not fair to them. You saw the president had a red carpet welcome of a Harper drink from Madagascar that was never investigated, that was never, recommended to him by our health professional on the ground. But yeah, what he did, they rolled a red carpet that the president went to the airport with 3 small boxes, 1 large, 1 middle size, and 1 small one. You guys remember that, right? What happened to the Harvard drink? What did it do to Liberia? If you look in our Western region, in the West African region, per capita, Liberia had the highest death rate per capita compared to all the West African countries. The records are there. I didn't make this up.
Thank you. Mr. Gayman,
Yes.
1 minute to respond. Then
You see my brother here again. I like Mr. Gaye. Like I told you, this is not fair because you and I, we are actually arguing and supporting CDC. You see, you talk about the 3 African regions. You talk about Guinea, Ivory Coast, or Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, but you didn't post any number. You just say we have the highest. The same perception. You are an educated guy who is very brilliant. I will have love for you to just post the numbers and say Liberia had 570, Guinea had 200, and Ivory Coast had 100. Then it makes sense. But you just come out of the blue sky and say we have the numbers are there, the records are there. Who goes to a debate like that, my brother? I know you are supporting CDC because that's how people who are not prepared, who don't have numbers, that's what they say. You see, when I come
put
here,
the number out now.
No, I don't have the number. I know because I know we are the best. If you want to say you want to debunk that,
No, we
put
are
the
not
number
the best.
up. Justify the numbers. Juxtapose the number. You said we are the lowest in the three countries area. So where are the numbers?
No, you don't want to say we were the lowest.
No, I said we have been commended for having a low death rate, and you say we are the highest in the 3 countries. So if we are the highest, then post the 3 numbers. Let's just post them.
I didn't say 3 countries. I said the Western Sahara.
Okay, so then post the numbers. Post the numbers.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman. Mr. Gayman, I have a question for you. You keep repeating perception as if it's a bad thing to have perception. Let me remind you about the Corruption Perception Index. That's what being used by Transparency International. That's based on perception, and that can go against you, even though it's perception. But you are alluding to the fact that anything that is perception-wise is counted.
That's correct.
That is not true. That's why I'm pointing you to Transparency. Corruption Perception Index.
Yes, correct.
Corruption, right? To score people.
but listen to this. The reason we say I would discount that is I could look at Dennis Jai, and my perception of you could be, wow, there's a good-looking young man, nice-looking glasses. Somebody behind me could come and say, well, this guy glasses are ugly. It's a perceptional thing. It is not valid. If you walk in the street today, if I got robbed in Miami and you walk up to me and say, is crime high, robbery high in Miami? I would tell you, hell yeah, 100%.
No, what I mean here is you are talking as a perception, the way a government is perceived outside by business people, by the public sector is being perceived by experts and all these other people. You are saying it doesn't matter. That's
no, but you see, you are talking about two different things here. We are talking about perception as people see stuff. Then we are talking about making decisions on people's life and death. Okay, when we are choosing our leaders, democracy calls that one man, one vote, and it has to be a ballot form. It has to be secret ballot. You cannot read minds. You cannot divine thoughts. In social psychology, you cannot divine thoughts. What Cummings is trying to do is divine the thoughts of those. Look at Ty Wombe, what happened. Ty Wombe was actually, like he said, a confidant of Mr. Cummings. Ty Wombe got flogged. He got disgraced. He got beaten. They ran him out of there.
Mr. Gayman, I want us to stick to the stimulus, and I have a question, and Dennis trying to push you on the perception thing. Where does perception come from? Because my understanding is that perception can come from series of happening. News that's happening in the country. For example, report of corruption in the papers, on the international cable. And, there's this saying that when there's smoke, there's fire. So, and you have to be able to deal with that. And you think that is nothing?
Oh.
Well, we are talking about nothing, so we can make progress.
No, listen, this is an intellectual question that does not require a yes or no. I am not going to be pigeonholed into that. Okay? A perception, it is how people think, and you cannot divine that. If I tell you, say, I think you are very nice, I will feel good, but is that right? Somebody who just met me on the periphery for the first time. It's like somebody saying that Cummings came from Coca-Cola, and we all know that he left Coca-Cola on a heavy cloud. He left unceremoniously, and we don't have to go into that before you think that I'm here to denigrate the man.
All right, but the man never left. So
the perception is that Cummings is not good. Is that right? I don't think so. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my next question is, have the total number of persons being earmarked by the government received their rights distribution?
No.
Why?
Mr. Gaye, and that's why I told you, I said Mr. Gaye is actually a CDC and undercover. He just told you the road system in Liberia is so difficult that to leave from Grand Gita to Nima, it was almost impossible. People couldn't do that. You cannot leave Monrovia.
Receive their rights distribution?
Excuse me?
Will those people ever receive their rights distribution?
Yes, according to the World Food Program, yes, they are making preparation with I think barges and watercraft to take produce from Monrovia to the southern part of the country. So all of those things are in the making. Where do we get a watercraft from? From the neighboring country like the Ivory Coast and Nigeria, and it takes time.
So the assumption, I get a question from Mr. Gaye, but the assumption there is because the road to Sino to Dodwick and my town is bad, so it means people in Monterey County where the good have already been served. Is that what I'm understanding from you?
No, that is not. That was not. You can draw that conclusion, but that's not the conclusion. That is. I didn't say that.
All right. Let me go to Mr. Gaye. You didn't say that. I don't know what you said now, but let me go to Mr. Gaye. Mr. Gaye, you said, I mean, you kind of ripped the stimulus package apart, right? And you even made mention of the state of emergency, the curfew, how people were being brutalized, wasting hot water, people, all that. In all this, what has been the CPP position, especially the CPP legislators? Have they called hearing or have anything being done so far by the CPP to check the government correct or put some pressure? so that the things that you are calling for are done.
Mr. Ja, we are in this today because of many opposition. Let's get set the record straight. There are more opposition lawmakers today as I speak than the ruling party lawmakers in both houses. That is the messy truth that must be told. Unfortunately, very few of them are working. You see, CDC has tried everything in her power to unseat Senator Darius Dillon because they feel as though he's a thorn in the flesh, for lack of a better term. Look at the circumstances today with the whole voter registration cost. If we have lawmakers in the opposition who meant well, the same guy who the Supreme Court asked to clean up the voter register was the same person who got confirmed when Senator Dillon, Senator Kanga Lawrence were going, even Senator Samuel Johnson was going against those guys. They didn't have help. We only need 16 senators in Liberia to get people to do their job. So, to be clear with you, only very few senators are speaking, even since the law brought it up the other day on the floor.
Thank you.
But here is the thing.
So,
we don't have the number
Gaye,
that we need to get things done.
So, Mr. Gaye, what you were saying is more like saying, you know what, the opposition part of the problem, because no one is stopping the opposition from holding the government accountable. That's why you are opposition. You are opposed to them on policy issues.
I will clearly say to you here, yes, they are also part of the problem. And I want to specifically say the lawmakers, because only people who claim to say, okay, you know what, I'm in the opposition and you have the power and you sitting there. Why even allow these guys to go through the process? You saw Senator what's his name from Bomi County? He was on your show. Councilor
Sharma is from Gayman.
Gayman, I'm sorry. Thanks for the name. Senator Sharma raised a motion. Remember? He raised a motion. And 24 hours later, what did he do? He withdrew his motion without even letting the senator know. The owner saw his withdrawal in their group chat.
Okay,
that's the kind of thing we're talking about here.
Let's get to
it is very unfortunate that we also shooting ourselves in the leg when we have the power to do the right thing for the Liberian people. I will be very blunt tonight. Thankfully, I'm not a spokesperson for CPP.
And how much is that a reflection on the CPP leadership?
No, I don't think it is part of the leadership. Remember, we have not merged yet with the CDC. We are just collaborating. There's a big distinction between the collaboration and the merger. When we get to the merging part, that will be a different ballgame.
Thank you. Let's move on.
And folks in cyberspace, you are watching FOL debate that is focused on Liberia debate between Mr. Jerome Gayman, who is from or support the ruling position, while Mr. Anthony Gaye supports the opposition. And folks in cyberspace, we have a link pinned at the bottom of the Facebook live field. You have to grade these debaters. Tell us who is doing well in your opinion based on your assessment. They are articulating the issues. They are answering questions. They are making positions or taking positions on the issue. We want you to grade them. So if you go to the link below that has been pinned, tap on it. Then you will see the two of them names. Select the person who you think is doing better than the other and submit. So far, we have 7 persons that voted, and you are about 115. At some point, we're around 130. So please don't leave without participating in grading these debaters. We appreciate that. Mr. Ja?
You're right. This time, we're going to go very quickly through our issues because time is fast spent. So this issue, anytime you just have one chance to go at it, on this issue, and we'll combine some of the first one here. Let's look at the economic situation in Liberia, and let's talk about the main thing that affect people, or mainly that is very obvious because we feel it too. It's the data rate. Data rate gone up. I think $15 now is 15 minutes. So let's wrap that. Just use that as an example to talk about the economy. Mr. Gayman.
Well, the data rate We all know exactly what is going on. When we talk about the CPP and the COP, or the ANC, wherever they are, we know they are in cahoots with the data providers. Who is in charge of Lone Star? Bernardo Ure, criminal Bernardo Ure. He is in charge. He has all reasons.
Gayman, don't use the word since he's not being.
Okay, the gun runner, we know he was a gun runner. Okay, the gun runner, the former gun runner of the MPFL, Mr. Bernardo Ure, is in charge of Lone Star. And when I want to quote Mr. Cummings here, 5 days ago, Mr. Cummings said, we are going to use every means possible to get our point across to bring this government to book. All means necessary. That could be right after that, we started seeing the killings of these folks. We are seeing data being jammed. All of these are all concocted to bring the people to rise, like Mr. Jerome just wrote in Front Page Africa. What would it take for the people to take guns and go in the street and bring down this inept government? And then on the other hand, you have Costa. He said, I'm going to put the folks in the street and we are not leaving until the government steps down. Then Mr. Cummings came out and said, we are going to do everything possible within our strength because we disagree with the findings of the highest court in the country, the Supreme Court. So the data here, it is a collusion between the providers to squeeze the government, to make these people to be upset with the government, but the government is smarter than that. We know what's going on, and we have given them an ultimatum. They will have to abide by the law. Liberia is a country of laws. They will have to abide by the law. That's theft. That's collusion. We are not going to stand for it, and we are educating the folks that this is a plan, it's part of the orchestration of the CPP, in conjunction with the killing. My brother just talking about it. There's fear all over. They want the country to panic. And we are ahead of the game. It's not going to happen.
Thank you. Mr. Gaye, you have 3 minutes also.
How can you be ahead of the game when 4 permanent members of the government employees got killed in the span of 8 days? How do you reconcile the country when the president called his critics enemy of the state? How do you reconcile? How do you separate the president from the presidency who goes to a campaign ground and says, no, Ure will win an election in this country, and tell her you almost got killed in District 15? How do you reconcile that the interest rate, the inflation rate, not interest rate, the inflation rate was 19%. January 22nd, 2018. When President Weah got sworn into office. And now the inflation rate is about 45%. Will soon be 46 to 47%. It's 45% inflation rate. We are going backwards, folks. Your money now, you will have more money to purchase less goods in layman terms. How do you reconcile the circumstances of Liberia when we have this government that have no plan how to stop capital flight in Liberia? But what does that mean to the layman? You, me, anybody who has money can go and lease or continue, fill it up with machine gas, ship it to Liberia, pay your customs duty fee, get your container out of the port, sell all of your machine gas, and suck up all the United States that are on the market and walk free. You have no plan to that. I asked Samuel directly this question, and he had no plan. He is the Minister of Finance and Development Planning. He should have a solution to this. You have a country wherein this whole circumstances of people being killed mysteriously. You saw the guy from the CBL, Matthew Innes, mysteriously died. We didn't know what happened to him. The government said, I'm going to investigate. Did you get any answer? Absolutely not. So, Mr. Gayman, you can worship Weah, praise him any way you want to praise him. This man, from time and time again, have shown the Liberian people incompetency. and not knowing what to do when there is a circumstance as per what is happening right now. He goes to the church and says, oh, they say that boyfriend and girlfriend thing. This is serious matter. People's life is involved. People lost their wife, their husband, their family members, their children, and professionals, let alone. And you sit here and talk about, oh, our country, FBI. You even made it up in the article. There's no FBI mention in there.
Thank you.
You came here to intellectualize this debate, like I told you.
Thank you, Mr. Gaye. We'll move to the second part and the next one, and we are combining. We look at the military city, 14 military city, 14 Gorbachev market, and the street lights that I just put on.
And Mr. Anthony Gaye, you have 3 minutes to go at these 2 issues. We're talking about all the 14 projects, 14 military city, 14 Gorbachev market, 14 military hospital, and any other 14 you may know, and the street light. What is your position on these 2 issues?
First of all, Mr. Tia and Mr. Ja, and to our listening audience, when you question them, why is it everything is 14, they say, but it's not the president's name. Everybody who know about sports know President Weah, as a footballer then, wore number 14 jersey. That jersey has been retired in Liberia. That jersey also was retired in Italy in 2011. I watched the ceremony. Close to 64,000 people show up. I was very proud that day as a Liberian, seeing my fellow countrymen being honored. But here's the message to you again. They would never take responsibility of things that are not being done right. Name me everything after this president when he's using government funding and not going through the proper protocol to get this thing named. It is just not fair to the Liberian people. High BA, good market, okay, clean it. It is not a hospital type as they claim it to be, the hospital 14, but it's been built. We saw COVID patients taking there, and there is nothing spectacular about it. Today, as we speak, a CT scan cannot be read in Liberia. A CT scan. When you do a CT scan, it has to be flown out of Liberia to Ghana or any neighboring country. We don't have a radiologist to read it in Liberia. It has to be taken out. Okay? But they're bragging that their president is doing well. You built a market. The marketers go to the market and lower purchasing power. What good will it do for the people right now? So in terms of challenges, you move the money to the most important thing. Let me give you this analogy of an emergency room. When you go to the emergency room, the most severe candidate or ill person is attended to first, then you that have mild circumstances, because their goal is to prevent death. In the circumstances of an economic challenge or crisis, you apply the same analogy. You address issue to stop the bleeding, so to speak, for lack of a better term, and get the country on the trajectory that it will yield growth. You don't spend money because it is a good thing. It will bring good news. You fulfill levels up and people drip it. In the 21st century, for God's sake, people are celebrating life. We saw Carway when President Saleh was president. That four plant was electrified using the solar light. What happened? No maintenance. It's all gone. We know Liberia. They don't invest into maintenance. We saw all these buses, the buses from India. Where are they today? They brag about, it will be doing transportation. We can't see them in the street.
Thank you.
So here is the thing with this government.
Thank you.
It's all about follow-up. It's all about, winning an election, because this is an election season. So they want to use the president's birthday and say, light. But after that, what the Liberian people want is a job creation, food on the table. They don't want to be beggars. They are sick and tired of being beggars.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman. Let's look at the 14 military hospital, 14 military city, 14 Gorbachev, and I thought it was going to be 14 street light, but no, this one we just say street light.
Great. And let me think, when you called me here, you say we were coming to debate. I was coming to debate a CPP person, and I was happy because I knew the CPP had nothing to debate here. And today, my brother Gaye just agreed that there were several errors made, and the most egregious error that he admitted to was that, yes, we have senators. We have more senators in both houses. We have more senators in the Senate, more representatives in the lower house combined. The CDC, we are in a minority. And yet and still, we cannot move a bill. He said we are incompetent. The CPP is not ready. But then he turns around and said they should re-elect all of those people. My brother, you either for or you against. You cannot say that the government, that if the minority is running away with the show, beating the majority, and the majority throw in the towel. And you will say you are disappointed. You praise the CDC for manhandling. This is what politics is all about, to get things done. We are not knocking people on the head. We are outmaneuvering them. And I thank you. Thank you. You have spoken for CDC better than I have for a minority party to rule a majority. Like you said, Vani Sharma, part of the CPP, introduced a bill that he felt that wasn't right, and he pulled the bill unknown to his party, unknown to his constituents. That, to me, that's power. That tells you that George Weah is a powerful man that has leadership. Now let's pivot to the 14, 14, 14. I wish it were 14, 14, 14, 14. Because if 14 shines that bright, then let everything be 14. If 14 say, let there be light, and there's light. 14 said we need market, and there's market. If 14 says we need 5,000 condominiums, international standard, and it happened, then let my name be 14. I want to be called 14. I want to wake up tomorrow and look into my bank account, and when I say 14, let me have millions of dollars. So 14 is powerful. And by the way, 14, you are talking about a George Weah's number. Let me tell you the fact. The original 14 in Liberia, Lone Star, was Benedict Wisa Mama Musa. He's the original 14. You can check it out. So don't just come here and say things because you feel like it. Let's look at the fact. Now you talk about the economy. Today, we are looking at the World Economic Forum right here. They are talking about why the world economy is in a downturn. And they are saying, when you look at the headline here, it says here, now is the time for the world capitalism to reset. Because the economy, every sector of the world economy is in a downturn. And this is an important time for us to reset. Because what affects America, affects the Europe, is also going to affect the countries that are donor recipients like Liberia. We are a consumer economy and not a producing economy. So the World Economic Forum is saying we need a reset.
Thank you.
Look, this man who overspoke for 5 minutes. Thank you very much. You my partner here. Thank you for praising CDC. God bless you, man.
Let's go to the last issue. Which is the recent government reshuffle or the new appointments. Mr. C, are we on course there?
Yeah, we are certainly on course. And gentlemen, our last issue here in this debate is the most anticipated for more than 2 years reshuffle. And finally it came. And the number of persons that will move around didn't even reach about 20, if I'm not mistaken. But there was a reshuffle, and we want to ask the two of you to give your take on the reshuffle. But before you do, let me announce to our viewers, about 132 of you, you have now voted. Look, you need to vote to grade the participant here or the debaters here. So far, 26% voted, and you have 132. So go to the Facebook link below, tap on it. We have Anthony, he's the young man below beside Mr. Ja, and Mr. Gayman is the young man right beside me here. All right, make sure you vote your debater, your winner. please do that. We will appreciate that. And that is the contribution that we are asking you. And it is not difficult for you to do because we will display the results right on the screen before you leave. So, gentlemen, we are talking reshuffle. And who is going first on this one? That would be Anthony Gaye. Mr. Gaye, you from the opposition side. There was a reshuffle. Wow, was it good?
Mr. Gaye
So
went
before I respond,
hold on, Mr. Gaye went first in the previous one, so Gayman this time.
All right.
but okay, go.
Okay.
Gayman,
Mr. C and Mr. Dennis John, I am telling you, George Manning Weah, the Dr. Bekube, Manning Weah, our prolific, brilliant president, young, energetic, has done it again. You are talking about reshuffle. As far as the CPP is concerned, if Koji, McGill, and Tua are not removed, then nothing. George Weah can flip the entire country around. If Tua, McGill, and Koji are not removed, as far as they are concerned, the reshuffle means nothing. But let me tell you, the ace in the reshuffle, bringing Mr. Remy. Remy is a talented multitasker, my brother from Maryland County, a student of the William V. Tubman Fatima High School. You name it, this young man has done it. VOA, BBC, Radio Veritas, he's done it. That's his job. He's a pro. Moving him for LBS to the Ministry of Information, it is just superb. Superb. Moving my friend, I call him Dr. Eugene Namwe, from Ministry of Information to Maritime, where all the ship that flies our international flag, he is going to be the commander in that area. Then you look at Dr. Tappe, PhD, Ivy League, or graduate of Penn or University of Pennsylvania, moving from where he's to going to EPA, where we need an administrator, strong administrator. And he couldn't have done a better job. George Manning Weah, I am telling you, the guy just hit, it was a home run. Hit it out of the ballpark. Hit it out of the ballpark. It was a grand slam.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Gay?
Let's go to Mr. Gay.
You know, Mr. Gayman, they love to praise things where you evaluate the well-being of the people in your country to assess what you're doing, is it profitable or not, or is it beneficiary to the people. You are a servant. You are not to boss people around. It ain't going to make any difference once they are not going to be independent-minded and perform their job according to the functionality as to what the job prescription requires. If they're going to be there just to praise and worship this president, what good are going to do for the Liberian people? You have an accomplished economist in the name of Wilson Tappe. That's a Wilson Tappe. And the economy is in the tank today. So moving into EPA, what good does it do for Liberia? The economy of Liberia is in the tank. You have a brain who is a trained economist, serve at the Commerce Ministry, who now work alongside with the Finance Minister and put the economy back on track. You want to blame it on COVID? Our revenue generation is poor, let alone you depend on foreign aid. We are not generating enough of our own revenue. Rice is our staple food. We can't grow our own rice. When Liberia possesses up to 46% of the rainforest in West Africa, our rainforest can be compared to that of the Amazon in Brazil. It may not be as vast as, but we can benefit from the CO2 of our rainforest of Liberia, of which we are not benefiting from today. You have land using number going to maritime, what good they're going to do for us. So here is the thing, folks. The people who are in the ears of this president controlling. Natana Makea is the default president. He is the one running the show. You have a Summit 12 who ran the map-up exercise that was condemned by the Crow report, did not follow best international practices. The report says that. Then the GSC report implicated individuals that were indicted by the government. They all walked free. So when you talk about this government moving people around, it's just for formality. And they say we should move people around. Let's just move it around. What good are going to do for the Liberian people? It is yet to be determined. Now, I want to make something clear here. The current opposition lawmakers are not CPP lawmakers. That's going to be the first of its kind for CPP to have a candidate who will win on our ticket.
Thank you.
It must be cleared out. CPP does not have a lawmaker. They were elected on an individual party before they went to the House and the Senate.
Thank
So
you.
to claim that we have a CPP lawmaker, that is untrue. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. And I'm not sure if Wilson, Mr. Wilson Tape has a doctorate. Both of you mentioned that. And I'm not sure.
I misspoke my point, doctor. He does not have a doctorate. He also
he has an LLD. He has a law degree from the University of Liberia.
Oh, University of Liberia gives a doctorate now?
Get doctorate degree now?
LLD, that's what it is.
LLB, right?
Yes.
They give LLD as in Dennis?
Listen, when you look at anybody that has a law degree, it's called doctorate of law. That's what it is. Now, you can have a master, you can have it's different from a PhD of law.
Anyway, let's leave that. And also,
let's leave that conversation.
I don't think you did economics, but my question to you, Mr. Gayman, for the entire thing, is there anything that President Weah has not done right that he will need little improvement, or has it been perfect throughout?
Oh, it would be disingenuous of me to tell you that he's perfect in everything, in every government.
Where does he need improvement?
Okay, I'm just relax.
Okay.
When you bring in new administration, there are a lot of pitfalls. Okay, we need improvement in the areas of agriculture.
You are talking about President Weah himself.
Yes, this is what I'm telling you.
Okay.
The areas of agriculture, there was a misstep there. He had the young man there that was Minister of Agriculture. I don't think they gave him enough time to produce, and they fired him, brought in Ms. Cooper. And up to now, we have not seen anything moved. When I listen to Ms. Cooper and her pedigree and her interview, it tells me that she's not ready for that job. It's a whole different ballgame to have a little farm and bear few rice to become a minister of agriculture, wherein the direction of the world is now mechanized farming, but she believes in subsistence farming. So those are two diametrically opposing ideas. I don't know why he selected her, but we will see. That is one area that I see that he kind of blinked too fast.
Mr. Gaye, same question. Where can you give Mr. President Weah some credit?
I give President Weah credit on completing the ministerial complex, completing our airport. I gave him credit on those things. I gave him credit on, wanting to hire young folks, but hiring the wrong young folks who are inexperienced. Like he mentioned, Alvin Wiese, an expelled student from the University of Liberia, who had absolutely nada experience in agriculture on the job. And if you look at I always speak of the job function because it's key. Forget about the job title.
You talk about the credit.
The job function is key.
You talk about the credit. And that's good. We can move on.
Yeah. So let me talk about the credit. So I gave him that credit for completing the ministerial complex, for completing our IA of terminal. Brilliant. I gave him a compliment. I even praised him on my own personal podcast. I want to commend him for that. But the bad has overweighed the good in overall.
Let me read some comments here. Joseph Canto says, so the number 14 George Weah War for the Lone Star of Liberia was the fake one since Mama Musa was the original 14. I don't know what Mr. Gayman was trying to prove there, that the 14, military 14, they had nothing to do with President Weah.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, people are everything that have 14 on it, they automatically attribute to George Weah, and I'm trying to let them know that everything that have 14 on it may not be George Weah. It may also be other folks that have gone prior.
So it means that the 14 military hospital is named in honor of Mama Musa. My friend,
it could be. It could be.
You can't answer the question.
And do you believe
I say yes. Number 14, it said 14, whoever wore 14 in Liberia.
He's justifying this thing because he doesn't have an answer.
Okay.
No.
Let me read my comments. Who is Gayflow Goya? Who is responsible for the lack of equipment in the various hospitals in Liberia? Is it Dr. Weah's administration? Did any administration equip these hospitals and Weah's administration destroy them? Vahan Mende Man said Jerome's misleading FOL viewers. He doesn't get any facts in talking. And somebody using some bad words here. Mr. Sia is urging you to please vote on the link below. Sam Somo, elected officials naming projects after themselves is a dead argument. I would not pursue issue with anyone. Marie Pade, if they have all the 14s, why are they carrying the people out of the country? That's another question there. Sir Gabriel Foko, middle finger. Oh no. Sir Foko saying Ellen is President Salif is responsible for everything Liberia is facing under this government. I don't know how you make that link. Joseph Molly Rikene, please ask CP person in there since 143 years, who is the problem? Shame and shame. Mr. Thomas Awaji, that's my man here from Atlanta. I'm still waiting to hear the success of the most successful president Liberia ever had. SKD was money, government money, but it is named SKD. Opposition are so narrow-minded and dishonest. Amanata Jaliba, Mr. Gayman is educational, not just defending his party. And the last one I want to read from Prince Double. Well, Cummings can name his project Coca-Cola if he is ever president of Liberia. Ha, ha, ha. Your kinsman used government money to build the SKD sports complex. Man, they are tying you with President Doe, Mr. Gay.
And let me read a few here, Dennis. This one is from San Wallow. The reshuffle should have brought in new talent to address some of the key and unique challenges. Clearly, there are some skill sets missing. And Joseph Conto, he said, well, that's how he wrote it. He said, that's and Southeaster speaking right there. What's wrong with Southeastern people speaking, man? You need to stop this thing. Romeo Sherman, Anthony just look like bags of fun on this debate tonight. Ha ha ha. This person's last name is Senior. The only way CPP can win debate is when you bring this guy with the last name key against a sedition. Gene Smith, the 2020-2021 budget increased to 8% of revenue. Mr. Gay, what are you saying? Well, whether they will be able to raise that money is another thing. Joseph Molu Welikanda, sorry if I'm butchering your name. This Anthony guy sound unrealistic. He's confused big time. Then the last name here is Man. Jerome University of Liberia can never get doctorate degree. Can never give doctorate degree, he said. Please stop lying to FOL. Few comments there, Mr. Ja.
Thank you to our viewers for those comments. And let's give you 1 minute to respond to those comments, guys, and then we can wrap this up. Mr. Gay, you go first.
I want to appreciate all those that commented. They are entitled to opinion, positive, negative. That's what they call democracy, objectivities, and free speaking. That's fine for me. Just keep it civil. That's all. Yeah, the comments will come. Whether in favor of me, in favor of Mr. Gayman, that's part of democracy. That's why we have this platform. That's why we should, have the interaction. I'm glad I can do this freely here. I can't do this in Liberia, man.
Mr. Gayman, you're 1 minute.
Excellent. I like, the interaction, and it tells us that you guys, not us, you guys are doing a great job to capture the audience and maintain the attentions of the audience. They are following through. So what we are doing here is very important. And this is why I drifted or gravitated towards FOL all along, because you are at times as biased as you are against the most dynamic president we ever had, but you try. You can't help yourself, but you try. So I got to give you credit. But I'm here to balance this thing out, and hopefully we're going to get it right someday. But yes, for the young man who thought that Liberia does not give her a PhD or doctorate, please look at the definition of a law degree. When you graduate, and I'm going to pull up, if you have time, maybe on another day, I will pull up the graduation ceremony of the University of Miami that I just attended to represent Dr. Tapper.
B as in water.
Yes, any law degree is doctor of law.
No, it's not.
Yes,
true.
we know this.
So don't equate
Liberia
to America. Don't do that.
We're not. Oh, no, there you go. Mr. Jai, when you're done, I want you to go and look at Dr. Tapper's resume, and then you will sort it out. Hopefully, you will make the correction someday. But this is great for our audience. Our audience, they are well keyed in, with the exception of a few negative folks here. I think the whole thing was very, 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 very intellectual.
All right, at this time, folks, we are about to close the voting link. We are about to close it. And once that is closed, you will not be allowed to vote. We want to say thank you for voting. We have 113 responses, meaning 113% participated in the opinion poll to decide the winner of the debate. We appreciate that. Right now, I am closing it. So if you have not voted, you want to do that right now. But so far, I think almost all of you might have voted. I will allow Dennis Jai to take control of things while I get this result and put it on the screen. Mr. Jai, go ahead.
Let's hear your closing argument. We've covered a whole lot of issues, so I give each of you 2 minutes to do your closing argument and convince our audience that you everything that you've said so far summarized. Mr. Gayman, let's start with you.
Okay, thank you very much, FOL, and thank you to our audience for participating. It is clear that this was not a debate between two opposing views. This was basically a consensus. My brother admitted to all the errors made by the CPP. He admitted that the CPP, under the leadership of Cummings, has not got it together yet. They are in the process. It's a machine in process. He also admitted that there was a bloodbath underneath the watchful eye of Cummings. He also admitted that the CPP is a failure opposition in Congress. They cannot hold the president's feet. They cannot pass a bill. They cannot do anything. So he is contradicting himself. Mr. Gaye is a contradiction galore. Everything he said, he said they shoot themselves in the leg, quote unquote, shoot themselves in the leg. So why did you bring him on here to debate me as an opposition when he agrees with everything I'm saying? And I'm saying that we should clean house and check out all the useless CPP people and bring in people that will support our agenda so we can move forward. He agrees with me. He agrees that Cummings is not a rightful leader. He does not have the innovative skills. He does not have the political maneuvering skills. He does not have the leadership ability to make people do things his way, to see things his way. He cannot lead. He agreed with me. So this was a great debate. I'm disappointed that I did not have a true opposition to debate me. I feel embarrassed at times when people agree with me on basically everything. And Mr. Gaye tonight agree with me on all the basic essentials of the CDC. So, Mr. Gaye, I want to thank you and welcome. welcome. I think you need to pick up your certificate, CDC certificate. You did an excellent job praising George Weah in the CDC administration. And next time, don't come as an opposition, come as a CDC, and then you will make my job a little easier. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's go to Mr. Gaye for your closing arguments.
Policies are unacceptable on the international, intellectual forum. Policies and alternative facts are just unacceptable. I did not agree with you or anything here. I recognize and took responsibility of our shortcomings. That is what a responsible and authentic leader can do, as I am. We take responsibility because we were at fault. I didn't agree with you when President Weah walked on a red carpet and spent over $100,000 of our money to charter flights to go to Madagascar and get few helper drink, and Liberian people did not benefit from that helper drink. How many people did it kill? Do you have number to that? You never spoke about that. You brushed it aside because you know it was very embarrassing. When we spoke about Hospital 14, our people have been flown out of our country, including the Minister of Labor, Mambudu Yumpe, not in the country. The Vice President is not in the country. Public work. So here is the thing: when you come here and say I'm agreeing with you, and you look at the facts, and you try to be untruthful on national forum, on global forum like FOL, you come here and pretend as though I'm agreeing with you. That's just acting like Samuel 12, who understand that you cannot intellectualize the economy, but yet you run around the circle and tell people we did not use the normal banking system, but we use an orthodox measure. We saw some throw down Nikutan or down in around Waterside Market and get them money. Who does that? How do you trace that? Even the treasury of the 17 million they said they spent, they can't account for that because some of the businesses named on that list does not exist. Some of the businesses also named that the list, they did not receive money. And they walk free and say, oh, their matter have been resolved. Who would trust you? Who would trust you when you still have Wabudike, who lied before the Liberian Senate of his Liberianness and have fourth birthday?
Thank you.
We saw the president and Wabudike having corruption forum. What is the integrity? When you can have a forum with a would-be criminal. He lied on oath, for God's sake. But President, we have stood side by side with this man talking about corruption. You have no respect. You have no integrity. You bring no value and principle to the matter when you're talking about you're going to fight corruption. How do people trust you? That's why no business, no investor want to go to Liberia. How many investors can you point to today?
Thank you, Mr. Gaye.
Based on the leadership of President Weah that have come to Liberia and help our people get jobs. How many jobs was created by this government?
Thank you, Mr.
Instead
Gaye.
of packing
Thank you, Mr.
the
Gaye.
payroll. So I just want to thank each one of you that tuned in today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it from our two debaters. We want to thank you, gentlemen, so very much for the time and the frank exchange of views. It's always best to talk and not fight, because we know where fighting has gotten us. It's better that we talk about our differences, even if we don't agree at all. That's better than fight or engage in stone throwing, name calling, and all the other nasty things that people resort to if they cannot meet one-on-one to talk. Mr. Sia, do we have our results? And let us say that what we are going to show is simply those who watched the debate and who have voted. It is not scientific, and it's the raw data based on those who responded to our survey during this time. Mr. Sia.
Yes, Mr. Judd, I'm bringing the result. I had needed to pull it from Google and compiled everything. It's coming very soon, and I want to use this time to thank our debaters for coming and debating with passion on the issues. We appreciate you. So now here is the results. I'm displaying the result right now as we speak on the screen for our audience and viewers to see. In the debate between Mr. Jerome Gayman and Mr. Anthony Gaye, we have 105% who participated in the voting process here, and they were only allowed to vote once, and they did. So of the 125 responses that we got, we had Mr. Anthony Gaye at 21.6%, whereas Mr. Jerome Gayman got 78.4%. So on the basis of this result, Mr. Jerome Gayman, Mr. Jerome Gayman is the clear winner of this debate based on the voting result that we receive here at Focus on Liberia. So Mr. Jerome Gayman is the winner of the debate. So at this time, we will give Mr. Anthony Gaye the opportunity to give his speech of concession to Mr. Jerome Gayman, who having to be the clear winner from this debate. Mr. Gaye, you can go ahead.
Congratulations, Mr. Gayman. I don't know from when the voter participated what their political affiliation is, but so be it. It is what it is. And based on their participation, I want to say thank you to them. That some of them may be in Liberia, some of them, may be facing challenges with data, and they still stuck around with us and went through the process. I want to say thank you to them. I want to say thank you to Focus on Liberia for hosting me on their show. I want to say thank you to Mr. Gayman also for being very professional in most of the time, although he tried to smear the name of Mr. Cummings and call him some type of name. It's up to him, but I don't think I will do that to President Weah. But yeah, I want to say congratulations to you. The people overwhelmingly voted you as the winner of this particular debate, and it is yet to be determined that political affiliation, but the result is the result, and I accept the results. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony Gaye, for graciously accepting the result of the debate. This is, like we said earlier, like Dennis said earlier, this is an intellectual exercise. It's better for us to talk than to fight. And we know in debate, most of the time, if most of the people watching the debate having to fall on the side of any of the debaters, definitely people are more like voting on partisan line. You expect the result to be on that basis. That is why sometimes, I focus on Liberia. Some debate will bring judges to grade, because judges will look at time, they will look at the issues, they will look at who's telling the truth. But if you give the opportunity to the people watching the debate, if I'm a seditious, for example, whether or not the person who is a decision is not saying anything, I go with that person, and that is the dishonesty sometimes we don't like about our people. But again, that is the process we decided to use, and it has its own shortcomings. It has its own level of fairness, but that is the result. Mr. Jerome Gayman, this is in no way trying to take your victory from you. It is important that we do the analysis. Even though you criticize us here that we are unfair to your government, but you are dancing a victory lap. Even though you have not made your speech, I see your job on all, celebrating. Well, go ahead and give your acceptance speech, sir.
No, I want to thank you. I want to thank Mr. Gaye. What actually transpired here is not about win and lose. It's a victory for Mr. Gaye and myself. We came over here to express. The young man has passion. He has the numbers. He has what he believes in. I'm doing the same thing here. So it's a win-win for me and for him. I know where he stands on issues. He knows where I stand on issues. He never disrespected me once. I didn't disrespect him once. And this is what our democracy should be. We can disagree to agree, but we are all, like your music usually say, we are all Liberian. I don't think anybody should want anything wrong for the country. We may have different ideas and different paths, but I think we do. There's a great number of us that actually love our country, and we would not want anything wrong with our country. So I think Mr. Gaye, I think I will share this with him, that it's a win-win for both of us.
Thank you. And Mr. Sear, just let me remind you, there's a comment here from Nelly Jones. He said, okay. He said people always cheating the opposition. So we, so even with the, and we like those kind of comments depending on what it is. But again, this is we want to thank you both for the spirited debate, frank exchange of ideas. That's what we want here, and we are inviting Mr. Thomas Fala, Mr. Darius DeLong to come and do the same. We are inviting.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that would be fascinating.
Right, we are inviting candidates to come and do the same. You know, we have, and to be honest, we've tried sometimes to reach out, and we encourage our Liberian politicians. Many of those in government. The other day, Mr. Gaye wanted a debate between Mr. Gaye and Mr. Cummings. If you want to have that debate, come right here. We can host it for you. And I want to thank our audience, those who are being here with us. Thank you so much for voting, and thank you for participating in whatever way. Even those who are going to watch this debate later, we say thank you so much. If there are any issues, you know, they say no swimming argument at the waterside. If you and your friends have been duking it out somewhere, arguing about some things, get in contact with us. Let's arrange a debate and let's do it. Until then, I pass it on to Mr. Sear to close off for the night.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis Jai, and we can thank all our viewers and our debaters tonight. This is how we'll come to the close of this debate, but I have something to share with you, and it's called democracy. It can work without people's participation. This participation I'm talking about is debating the issues. That is the only way we can get to know what is right and what is wrong, what is better and what is best through debate. So we want to use the opportunity to encourage people who want to represent us in government to come and debate the issues. I did not see debate on the CPP side, and it was frustrating for me who love debate. I did not even see a debate on the CDC side of the candidates during the primary, and it frustrated me. I am in a white man land, and I saw two old persons on the stage debating the issues. In Liberia, they don't debate anything. In fact, I will throw my little chief shot here as a presidential candidate who is now president who never show up. That was not good for democracy. You know, but when I said that, then Mr. Gayman is saying, I'm opposition. It is a fact that he did not show up to debate. Can he show up to debate? Can all the people who want to be president show up to debate? Whether you want to be a representative or senator, can you show up to debate? All the candidates have been decided in Liberia. Will they have a debate during the campaign time? No, they will never have a debate. Even when you call them to a debate, they don't want to show up. We can't have democracy that way. So on that note, folks, we want to thank you. And this is how we'll come to the end of this broadcast here at Focus on Liberia. We are ending the debate now with the song that says we are all Liberians and we are all one. Whether or not you want to debate, it's up to you. But you are still a Liberian. But you will be a better Liberian if you show up for debate, because that is democratic justice to our people. Bye-bye.
We are Liberians.